Gary said to the boy. He waved Bert and Bernard toward the car. "Come on, y'all. Get in the car." As his nephew and cousin walked behind him, Gary turned to the curly-haired white boy who glared defiantly as the others standing around him averted their eyes. He recognized Herman Landry. He knew the Landrys, so he was shocked to see the anger in this child's eyes. "Do you want to know my name?" Gary said, an edge creeping into his voice. "Sure." "Can you read?" "Yeah." Gary stepped towards the boy and looked down at him. Landry was a foot shorter than he was. He pointed to the embroidered name tag on his green uniform and asked flatly, "You still want to know it?" Landry did not look, but spat. "Yeah." Gary stood for a second, his fingers still touching the stitched letters on his breast. Landry met his gaze with hard eyes. Neither one spoke a word as the tension between them quivered and then slackened. Gary turned back to his car, which Bert and Bernard were climbing into. He heard Landry's voice whisper low behind him. "He's a real smart nigger, ain't he?" Blood surged in Gary's head and he spun around. "What did you say?" "You're a smart nigger, ain't you?" Gary squared himself to Landry and then took a breath. "You best run along home now," he said, reaching out to the boy's arm in a gesture that was both conciliatory and final. The conversation was over. The moment that Gary's hand came into contact with Landry's arm marked the beginning of one of the most important and improbable criminal cases in American history. Gary's gesture that day would put a crack in the dam that strained to hold back racial strife in his community. And, just as surprisingly, it would help dismantle the infrastructure of white supremacy that had strangled that community for centuries. The next 2 years would contain a life's worth of plot twists for Gary. His legal odyssey would take him from his tiny hometown to the Supreme Court of the United States. At stake would be the function of civil rights lawyers in the South and the fundamental right to a trial by jury. Gary and Landry locked eyes for a moment as they touched. Then the boy withdrew his arm as if bitten by a snake, and Gary turned and strode back to the car. As he was walking away, he heard Landry mutter, "My people can put you in jail for that." Gary, ignoring the threat, drove back down the road. 1. A dirty storm. Graves at my command have waked their sleepers, oped and let 'em forth by my so potent art. Shakespeare, The Tempest. There are 2 kinds of storms, they say in Plaquemines Parish, Louisiana. There are clean storms and there are dirty storms. Hurricane Betsy was a dirty storm. On an August day in 1965, the astronauts of Gemini 5 sped at 15,000 miles per hour, 150 miles above the tangled deltas of southern Louisiana. "It sure is a pretty day down over the Caribbean here," said astronaut Gordon Cooper. Below the capsule, the sea sparkled, dappled with puffy cumulus clouds that, the astronauts noticed, gathered into a colossal gyre, a storm. "That's Betsy," Mission Control informed them. The tropical depression, which drew in the moist summer air as a drain draws in water, appeared to stretch at least 100 miles in each direction from its central eye. As they spun away on their 90-minute orbit, the astronauts could see pulses of lightning illuminating the dark clouds from within. A few days later, Gemini 5 hurtled down through the atmosphere, cutting a fiery path from Louisiana to a quiet patch in the Atlantic. Mission Control cut the flight short when Betsy, now a tropical storm and rapidly intensifying, lurched north towards the planned splashdown site off the coast of Florida. Directly below Gemini 5 as it went into radio blackout for re-entry, Gary Duncan was getting ready for church.